Alrighty, guys, welcome everybody to our weekly outlook. Today is Sunday, October 15th, 2017. I appreciate you guys coming on today, taking some time out of the end of your weekend to check out my analysis for the week. Good to see some familiar faces in here. Also good to see some new faces. If you guys are brand new, this is your first webinar. My name is David Schinkel. I am the CEO and founder of Positive Traders. And I do this free Sunday outlook just about every Sunday that I can for you guys for free to give you guys my opinion, my bias on the direction of the markets for the upcoming week. We're going to be going over a couple of these pairs that you guys see on the right here, right side of your screen. We're going to be actually just quickly skimming through all of them. I won't have like a full analysis for all of them, but the ones that we do, I definitely recommend watching this week that we talk about. Also, just a disclaimer for some of you guys that are brand new. If this is your guys' first time watching my weekly webinar, my weekly outlook, that this is my weekly analysis. So definitely make sure that you're using your own sort of confirmation, your own strategy combined with my analysis if it works with your trading strategy to take trades. If I say, I'm looking at buying this pair this week or potentially selling this pair this week, that doesn't mean, right as soon as the webinar is done, I'm looking at buying or selling it. I'm going to be looking for signs of confirmation, with that combined with price action and different tools to determine if a trade is still valid to take once I see price action go in the directional bias of what I'm looking for. So make sure that you guys understand that, using your own confirmation, your own analysis combined with my analysis to take your own trades. Other than that, let's go ahead and jump right into things. If this ends up helping you out, you want to look more into what I do, you can go to my website, positivetraders.us. It's got all the information on there about our premium group and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions also, please feel free to throw them in the chat room. I will get to them throughout this outlook, but let's go ahead and spend about 20 minutes looking at the charts, all right? So first, let's look at the economic calendar. This week, I wouldn't really say that there's any specific key risk event. As we look through the calendar this week, we can see that there's a lot of high impact. All of the red folders are all high impact. So just about every single day is filled, actually every single day this week is filled with some sort of high risk event. We have all sorts of heads of central banks speaking. So actually earlier this morning, we had Janet Yellen speaking and Governor Kuroda, which is the Bank of Japan, and the US dollar, the Federal Reserve. On Tuesday, I believe we have Bank of England, Governor Carney speaking for the pound. And then Wednesday, we have Mario Draghi for the European Central Bank speaking. We also have on Wednesday, we have nobody else speaking on Wednesday. Oh, we have some FOMC members, 2 FOMC members, so part of the Federal Reserve speaking on Wednesday as well. Thursday, nobody notable speaking on Thursday, but Friday we also have Janet Yellen speaking. So lots of events this week, nothing too in particular that stand out. I mean, anytime, definitely we want to be aware of anytime Janet Yellen speaks. If you guys don't know who Janet Yellen is, she is the head of the Federal Reserve. She is the chair of the Federal Reserve for the US dollar. So pretty much it's like up to her and her committee. They decide what happens to the dollar, if they're going to print more dollars or they're going to, stop printing dollars. Raising interest rates or lowering interest rates determines if they, inflation or deflation of the dollar happens. But it's pretty volatile time anytime she speaks. So that's happening Friday evening. So actually the markets are going to be closed when she speaks on Friday. So we don't have to really worry about that because we don't hold positions over the weekend. But she actually already spoke today. So as far as her speaking, that is not happening for the rest of the week as far as when the markets are open for us to trade. But there also is Mario Draghi speaking. He's probably the next most notable or next most volatile speaker next to Janet Yellen. Mario Draghi, he's the president, the head of the European Central Bank, and he is speaking Wednesday morning Pacific time or Wednesday morning Eastern time. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Other than that, let's go ahead and so this week is just filled with all sorts of fundamental news to definitely just keep your eyes on. I recommend, on your computer, if you guys are trading off your laptop or your computer, like I don't close this calendar out for the entire week. I'll have my email open, Facebook open, whatever, all my other tabs, different news that I'm looking at, and I'll always have, like on a week like this, when there's news all week long, I'll have this tab open just like it is now, as well as my TradingView tab open always. So I don't, you don't really have to close that. And then, if you're on your phone, just bookmark this. That's what I have on my phone. So if for some reason I'm out and I just want to see what news might be coming up, obviously I don't trade the news, but if I want to like kind of review the news, if I'm out, early in the morning or something like that, getting breakfast and I just want to look at it, something like that, then I have it bookmarked so I can always just take a look at it. So let's get right into the technicals. Let's get right into the juicy stuff that all of you guys want to know about, all of the trade setups. If I'm going too fast through any of this, let me know, throw it in the chat. But this also is recorded like always and thrown up on our YouTube. We have, I think, close to 100, if not 100 or more videos of all these old ones that are recorded, so you guys can go through. Some of you guys that are more interested can go on there and see the accuracy. But anyways, just recapping from last week, our bias from last week. If you guys watched last week's weekly webinar, I was very clear that my bias was to continuance of a weaker dollar. All right, let me get my little annotator out so I can draw some stuff out for you guys. We've been pretty much been short on the dollar since this. Oh, hold on, it disappeared for a second. We have been short on the dollar since this trend line broke. We wanted to get a little bit of confirmation below this weekly support level, 93.2. We've talked about a couple of times. For some of you guys that are new, since I do see a lot of new people in here, I'll just quickly zoom out really quickly and show you what this green level is. This is drawn on the weekly, and if you guys can see, this was a giant bull flag that we had. This is on the weekly, so this is over the span of a couple of years, this giant bull flag that actually we broke up to the top and ended up coming back inside the range. And then just recently, a couple weeks ago, we actually broke to the downside. We were short on the dollar ever since then. We started to get the little bit of a pullback. So if we zoom in a little bit real quick. Sorry guys, still getting handy with I'm on a new computer as well. I picked up a MacBook a couple days ago, and so just trying to see if I like this more over a PC that I also just recently bought as well. So just kind of figuring out which one I like more. But anyways, we were bullish on the dollar after this trend line broke right here. All right, so pretty simple, bullish movement, and now we came up to, we actually broke back above. So now that you guys know what this green level is, that multi-year support, we broke back above it. But anyways, just the meat of what we're getting into is last week we talked about being short on the dollar, looking for more weakness on the dollar. And that's what we saw initially to start the week off. To finish off the week, as you guys saw, the economic calendar last week was not too big. There's only, I think, like 2 really big events last week, and that was it that happened. And both, I think, were for the US dollar. And we didn't see a lot of movement from them. So a lot of sideways movement last week. And I'm going to tell you guys right now that my bias for this week is a shorter dollar, okay? As I think we're looking for a continued weaker dollar. We have a really, really nice bear flag forming on the dollar index right now. Price is really being resisted by this previous multi-year support level, now acting as resistance. We broke below the trend line. We broke the trend line. We broke down below, and it's tapering off right now. We have a nice little bit of a bear flag forming. If you guys know me as a trader, you guys have been following me for a while, or you guys are in the premium group, you guys know that I don't really like to do any trading on Sundays. The markets, there's usually just not all of the liquidity and all of the volatility that we want to see for the whole week. Usually you just see an accumulation of orders, accumulation of positions on Sundays, generally speaking. So I'd like to see this Sunday continue to hold resistance underneath the 93.2 level, but definitely a good setup to potentially looking for more weakness on the dollar this week. And that's what I'm going to be holding to that analysis, a weaker dollar as well. Now let's go ahead and move on to gold. Gold, we hit it right on the head. Also, last week we talked about higher gold because if you guys are new to trading, definitely a big correlation that you guys should just know off the top of your head is that generally speaking, weaker gold is a stronger. Weaker dollar is stronger gold, or that works as well. Weaker gold is stronger dollar. So they usually correlate to each other very negatively. When you see the dollar gaining strength, you see weakness in gold. When you see the dollar losing value, losing strength, then you see a rally in gold. So they tend to do the opposite of each other. So it makes a lot of sense right now that we're seeing a weakness in the dollar and we're seeing strength in gold. We actually talked about last week in why I say our analysis was just about spot on is beginning of last week. I think price was right around down in this area, right around the 1275 area, somewhere in this area, I think is where the week opened up at. And we talked about price most likely being somewhere between the 1290 and the 1300 level, which price actually ended up being a little bit higher than our expected target level. So now that we are back above a very psychological level, a very even number, the 1300 level, I think that we're going to continue moving higher. Definitely as long as we continue to see the dollar continue to weaken, we're going to see gold continue to rally a little bit. And so I'm going to hold true with my analysis of a weaker dollar and stronger gold throughout this week. Friday's candle also closed off very bullish. One thing actually I want to also just go back and show you guys too. This is the opposite is with the dollar index. But look at this weekly candle with gold. This is a super, super nice bullish confirmation that we're getting on gold right now. 2 weeks ago, we had a very big exhaustion candle. In this week, we have this huge bullish engulfing candle. And if you guys notice, at the top of this bullish engulfing candle, there's no wick on the top, meaning that the buyers had a lot of strength, a lot of control throughout last week, hinting that most likely this week those buyers are going to stay in control. So I'm going to stay bullish on gold. And just so you guys can see the opposite with the dollar index, not quite the exact same, but a very strong bearish engulfing candle on a downtrend. So we have this major downtrend that we've been in the dollar for quite some time. And then we see this big, big bearish engulfing candle on the dollar index on the weekly. Mind you, both of these charts that we just looked at with that bullish engulfing candle on gold and the bearish engulfing candle on the dollar index, both of these are the weekly charts. So these are some very big time frames giving us some big clues of what's happening. And I just want to just quickly just tie things together of how this dollar index setup right now is kind of looking like USD CAD a couple weeks ago. It is very reminiscent of this setup that we saw up here. This when I say a couple weeks ago, I mean it happened like 3, 6, 9, 10 weeks ago, almost 10 weeks ago, 9, 10 weeks ago this happened. But this setup right here, when we shorted USD CAD. If you guys remember, we talked about this on when that week had opened, when this red candle had opened, we talked about being very strongly bearish on USD CAD in the premium group. I actually recall, I think we took 2 or 3 trades on USD CAD that week. You'd taken some small breakout trades on this bearish candle right here, following that weekly. So I'm going to be looking to do the same this week on Euro USD. I think that we're going to see a lot. I mean, well, on the dollar index, on gold, I think we're going to see a lot more downside on these pairs this week. So we're going to be looking for some nice buy opportunities on Euro USD. I mean, this week is offering some very nice setups for us. So I just wanted to show you guys that when we did see that, just to go back very quickly to USD CAD, when we did see that formation on USD CAD, it looks very similar to how the dollar index looks right now. And we saw a big decline. We saw a big sell-off on the USD CAD after that week. So, that might, it's just a very small correlation, but it's just showing you guys how price action plays a big role. So also just to look at Euro USD, kind of looks a little bit similar to gold, but it's very nice. We have that big bullish engulfing candle. We also bounced right off of this 38.2% retracement level. So this is that 38.2% retracement level from just this little swing right here. Oops. I don't know why the cursor keeps disappearing when I try to draw, but I don't know why it's not drawing. Bear with me, guys. There we go. All right, so that swing right there came right back down to the 38.2% retracement level. We have this nice bullish engulfing candle. price has bounced a couple times. That was the 6th week last week where we've seen price act as support in this level. So I would not be surprised if we saw upside on this pair this week. So to me, I'm just telling you guys, to me, price action looks very clear this week. I like the way things look. I think Euro USD is going to continue to move higher. I think gold is going to continue to move higher. I think dollar index is going to continue to move lower. I think USD Swiss franc is going to continue to move lower ultimately. Right now, there is a little bit of sideways action going on this pair. Let me kind of just move the zone out a little bit for you guys. Show you guys what I see. Okay. So I know that there's a lot of green zones on this pair right now. I apologize. It's just zones that I see that I want to have marked up on my chart. But right now, if we do see this on the daily, you guys see that bear flag that it's making right now? So we had a nice little swing to the top side, and now we're having a little bit of a decline. And for the past 4 days, USD Swiss franc has been moving sideways. But to play the devil's advocate, to look at the opposite side of what the buyers could be seeing is that there are some pretty nice size wicks to the bottom side, so that could be showing a little bit of buying pressure. But right now there is this zone that I just drew out with the green level that you guys can see. So this lower green level just below price right here that I'm currently extending. That I'm currently extending out. We can definitely see this previous resistance. Let me draw it out for you guys. This previous resistance right here. Little bit of support right here, and definitely the current support of this flag. So if we can break below this zone and maybe get some sort of retest or maybe some sort of bear flag form, I think that we'll see some more downside on this pair. That would go very nicely with the correlation to generally when you see a stronger Euro USD, we see a weaker dollar, we see a weaker USD Swiss franc. So these are some very good setups that I'm looking at this week. Let me delete that. Pound dollar, not interested in trading right now. If we do see the dollar continue to weaken, we could see this pair move higher right now. But just look at price action in comparison to all the other trades that we're just looking at right now. It's kind of sloppy price action on pound dollar. So, don't force a trade if there's better price action on other pairs is what I say. So, we're just going to completely skip this pair right now. I'm definitely more interested in what Euro USD is doing, even what gold is doing right now. Oh, and we're going to be looking at USD CAD to a couple other pairs. But pound yen, a little bit interesting right now. I'm going to stay on the sidelines with pound yen as well. This trend line is just very mild. I was just kind of playing around to see what would happen. This trend line it definitely makes sense for price up here, towards the beginning up here. Definitely makes sense for price right here, but didn't really follow like a clean pattern in this area. So I'm not super reliant on this trend line right now, especially just because it's on the 4-hour too. It's not on the daily, not the strongest trend line in the world. So price action is again a little sloppy on these pound crosses right now. I think there could be some downside on this pair, but if we do see the strength in the pound dollar, we do see the strength in the pound right now, we could see this pair move up as well. So I'm just going to say, guys, as far as the pound crosses, pound dollar, pound yen, let's just sit on the sidelines right now. Let's focus on, definitely just the much cleaner price action on some of these other pairs. So let's look at USD JAPY. Okay, this was a pair that we looked at yesterday. If you guys look specifically in Telegram last week, I actually posted in Telegram, and if you guys are in the premium group as well, we talked about this pair quite a bit. But for most of you guys that are the free members, looking for the free value, in Telegram last week, we talked about the 1240 level. I believe it was 1240 or 1220 level, one of those two levels. I think it was the 1245 level or 1240, somewhere around where this red box is. That if we broke that level, we're probably going to head down to the 1150 area, and that's just what happened. It took a while to get out of this zone. So this red box we had marked off last week just as our point of interest, kind of where we wanted price to get to for us to look to sell this pair. We were obviously last week, we were looking at a weaker dollar. That was our bias, very clear beginning of last week. So if our bias is a weaker dollar, there's a very, very high probability that dollar yen is going to fall down. And that's because obviously if dollar yen, if this currency pair is moving down. That means that the dollar is weakening, which is exactly what we were wanting to do. And then the yen is strengthening, which is also a win-win for us, because generally when the dollar weakens, you usually see things like gold have some demand. You usually see gold go up, and the Japanese yen is actually treated very similarly to gold. It's what's known as a safe haven currency, very similar to gold, a safe haven investment. So usually see some increase in strength in the yen. So let's go ahead and look at what we're downside on dollar yen right now, is what I'm expecting. So if we look at this on the daily very quickly, we can see that this trend line has actually broken. This wedge that was moving sideways that we went back into in this area on the recent rally in dollar yen saw a top in this area. Okay, we can see a very clear top forming, and then we saw some downside last week. I know a lot of people had this trend line on their charts, and a lot of people were actually looking at buying dollar yen last week. But if you guys looked at what the dollar was doing, that's why I always say it's very important to use the dollar index, have that in your arsenal when doing your analysis. It definitely looked like the dollar was going to weaken last week, which helped to give us a clue of which direction this pair was moving. So now that we are back in a bearish trend, we are back below this support trend line for this giant wedge that we were in. I don't know why the cursor keeps going away when I try to draw. I need to get used to this. But now that we've broken this trend line right here that I'm outlining with black right here, I'm looking for more downside on this pair. Definitely more downside on this pair. I think that our 38.2% level is definitely our next target. I think this week we definitely have the opportunity to hit 111, maybe even lower. I can actually even extend this out just a little bit for us. The 38.2% retracement level we can see on the daily. Let's see what it looks like on the 4-hour very quickly. Not so much. What I'm just looking for, guys, is where it could fall to. That's what I'm looking for right now. But anyways, just looking for more downside. I think definitely this 38.2% retracement level, right around the 111. That's a very even number, a psychological level of support. Watch for price to move a little bit lower. And kind of similarly to the dollar index right now, we have a little bit of a bear flag forming. Definitely not as nice as the dollar index, but there is a little bit of, it did recently drop before the markets closed, and we're seeing a little bit of tapering off happening. So don't be surprised if we see price maybe move back up to, the bottom side of this support, because last week, if we look at it right here, it did take a while for it to actually break out, right? It faked us out a couple times. We didn't take a trade on it, but it did definitely look like it was breaking out a lot stronger a couple times. We saw a big drop, and then it came right back in. Another big drop, came right back into this range. Another smaller drop came right back into this range, and then finally ended up falling out of this range. So we may see price come back up into this previous support level right around 112. So maybe 10, 15 pips higher. But ultimately, I think we're going to see more downside throughout this week. Sheldon, you say I should seek liquidity below the wicks. Definitely expect price to move lower below last week's lows. Your markup is right on for the money for UJ. Awesome, Drew. If you guys mark this up, if you guys were able to combine my analysis, or you even had your own analysis before even watching last week's webinar of expecting a weaker dollar yen before even watching that, awesome job, guys. But expect more downside on this pair. My biggest things that I'm looking at right now is more downside on this pair, more upside on Euro USD, more upside on gold, more downside on dollar Swiss franc. I'm definitely watching this level. This has been quite a consolidative pair. If you guys even look at it on the 4-hour, it doesn't really get in a very trendy movement too often, right? We see a little bit of a downtrend right here, and a little bit of an uptrend right here. But for the most part, it likes to trade very choppy. So I haven't been trading this pair as much. I like trading Euro USD more. So I'm definitely watching these pairs. We're going to look at USD CAD too. That's another pair I'm very interested in. But very quickly, AUD USD and NZD USD, both of these pairs I'm looking at possible buy positions throughout this week. Last week, we talked about this a little bit, that we were only interested in buying AUD/USD if we broke above this green zone that I'm outlining with the black right now. And last day of last week, so on Friday, we did see price finally break through this level. It was just the last couple hours of last week too. About the last 12 hours of last week's markets being open, we actually saw AUD/USD finally break above this level. So look for some sort of bullish continuation this week. But I think that price moving up towards this trend line, the 79.40 level, which I believe is a trend line on the daily. Let's just take a look very quickly so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Oh, yes, this is that 2013 level, I believe. Let me move this out of the way. 2013. Yeah, so this level actually starts in 2013. Find some resistance. Now, this is just a rough resistance trend line, but this is a very reactive area. Okay, we've seen price find some sort of resistance in this general zone in the past. So this might even be on the weekly. Not so much. So this isn't the most, let me just be very clear that this isn't the most important trend line in the world. This is obviously, it's not a perfect trend line. It goes back very far, but it just gives us a general zone of where we could potentially see some selling pressure if price was to be in that area. So I think that our next target, we will probably see some resistance somewhere in this area. So look for price this week to move right around, I'd say, to like the 79.50 level. So as long as we see a weaker dollar, we see Euro USD continue to climb, we see gold continue to climb, then we're going to see AUD USD continue to climb as well. Let's look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Very similar thing as well. We talked about last week. Obviously, we can see price last week. If we draw it out, price started off right here last week, and we were expecting price to move up, but we didn't want to buy it until we got above this trend line, which we ended up happening right on Friday as well, just like AUD USD. So look for bullish confirmation this week. I think New Zealand dollar, US dollar has some pretty clean price action as well. I think if we get above this green zone that I'm kind of outlining right here with the black line, that's just a little bit above price, that we'll see a further rally on this pair. But these AUD/USD and NZD/USD, even though they've been moving pretty nicely and following our direction, I still think that the price action on USD JAPY, on Euro USD, on gold, and USD CAD that we're going to look at right now, I think is a lot better opportunity right now. So let's look at USD CAD. I want to show you guys on the weekly one thing very that caught my eye just a couple minutes ago when I referenced to USD CAD earlier. So you guys notice how we talked about this bearish engulfing candle, okay, the one more to the left that I'm outlining right now, on the dollar index for a weaker dollar, and we're actually seeing a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle forming from last week. So we're expecting some weakness on the dollar. USD CAD, we've been looking for weakness ever since this trend line broke. So let's put this on the 4-hour. This is a 4-hour trend line that we are looking to break. All right, so we caught this break last week, or we saw this break last week. So pretty clean price action on this pair. Just to give you guys an outline of what my eye sees is obviously we have this trend line, and right around this area, we broke this trend line and we consolidated off a little bit, tapered off, made a nice, very clean textbook bear flag, dropped again, and ever since then we've just kind of been moving a little bit sideways. But going into this week, we are still below this trend line. I think the dollar is going to continue to weaken, which could help be a catalyst for this pair to move lower. But we also have that nice bearish engulfing candle on the weekly. Even Friday's daily candle is pretty nice. We have a very nice exhaustion candle on this pair. We also see the last 3 days of last week, or I'm sorry, not the last 3, the last 2 days and the current day of this week, kind of tapering off, moving a little bit sideways, a little bit of a bear flag forming on USD CAD. So very clean price action on this pair right now. So just a quick recap for some of you guys that are just hopping in right now. Look for more. These are kind of like what I would say my quote unquote watch list for this week is I'm going to be looking for a lot more downside on USD CAD this week. Look for a lot of downside on USD CAD. Euro USD, although it's moving sideways and it's inching its way down, don't forget how the weekly candle formed. It's a nice bullish engulfing candle. We found that support. We talked about that very strong support at the 38.2%, the retracement level. So there is still a lot of buying pressure on this pair. So watch for upside on this pair. We said watch USD Swiss franc in this consolidation level that we're in on the daily right now. Okay, we're right in between this resistance, this weekly resistance level, this top green zone, and then we're right above support, previous resistance and support at a very strong level as well. So we're watching to break this level to the downside potentially, and then look for some more downside on this pair. That'll definitely help out a lot. Also, if Euro USD goes up, because these two pairs, Euro USD and USD Swiss franc, have a very strong negative correlation to each other. So be watching these. And then, of course, gold. You guys know I don't really like calling trades on gold because gold is very volatile, and usually you need to have a pretty big stop loss to be able to let the trade kind of breathe a little bit, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So, but overall, I mean, my bias is definitely strongly to the upside. Don't forget that weekly candle on gold that we looked at. Very bullish engulfing candle after a very nice exhaustion candle the previous week. So, very, very good, price action hinting to further weakness of the dollar this week. So be watching these pairs, be watching USD CAD, be watching Euro USD, be watching USD Swiss franc, be watching gold. Analysis has been pretty spot on these weekly outlooks for the past couple weeks. Hasn't been the most exciting weeks, but the good thing is our analysis, our thoughts on the market, our market commentary has been pretty spot on. Sorry, guys. Accidentally just clicked off. Manny, you said USD CAD is beautiful. Same markup in the group. Awesome, Manny. That is great. I think I saw you post that in Slack. Awesome, Manny is one of our premium members. You've been a premium member of ours for a very long time as well. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. If this analysis of a weaker dollar helps you out this week, makes you guys some money, and you want to learn a little bit more about what I do in the premium group, I have a hands-free trade copier that actually lets you connect your trading account to mine, and literally lets me do all the trading for you. It's a 2% risk on each trade, so that's very minimal risk on your part. I aim for about 5 to 10% growth or more per month. I think August we finished the month with just about 20% growth, so I don't just stop if I hit 10%. If the setups are nice and price action is good, and if everything is aligned right, I go for more growth. But you can learn more about that on our website. It is just positivetraders.us, not .com, so positivetraders.us. If you want to learn more about what I do. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, guys. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, Slack, Telegram, Instagram, doesn't matter. I will find a time to reply to you guys. If you're watching this recording, please subscribe. This is uploaded every single week for you guys that I do one. But like and comment, guys. But I hope this weaker dollar outlook gives you guys some good setups this week. Definitely be watching. I really, really like the way USD CAD is looking. I really like the way gold and Euro USD is looking. Can't say it enough, but I think this is going to be a great week to make some nice gains in the market. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Please use low risk, and I'll catch you guys in next Sunday's weekly outlook. And all of you premium members, I'll catch you guys in our live webinar tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday's webinar. So catch you guys soon. See you guys later. Have a great week. See you later.